Single topics. We'll start with AWS. Um, we will have our infrastructure created in AWS. All of you will have your own Linux system in AWS, and I'll guide you how to create that. And then we will be using that Linux system throughout the training program. Okay. I think both of you said that you do not have background on Linux, so I will help you with that. We will have few sessions where I can give you some basic and fundamentals of Linux, because that is must, because that's the platform where we are going to install all the tools and technologies. You may be asking why Linux and why not any other operating system. I mean, Linux is very dominant in this world. Most of the servers that we have throughout the world runs on Linux. Of course, different flavors of Linux, but most of the servers today in today's world are on Linux. Of course, there are, as I said, other operating systems as well, but since majority of them are on Linux, I'm going to cover Linux as operating system. Then we'll move on to the first topic, which is DNS. DNS is domain name service, which helps you translate your domain name into the IP address. Now, for two computers to communicate, they need to know the IP address of each other because they do not know each other by their domain names. So, DNS is the place where when you type, say, google.com or facebook.com in your web browser, requests get sent or routed to your DNS, and then your DNS responds back with the IP address of your destination domain like google.com, right? And then your laptop, say, connects to that particular IP over port 80, which is HTTP port, and then finally you get the page. So that is kind of high-level summary, but what I wanted to tell you is that DNS is must, for internet to work. I mean, of course, you can type directly the IP address in your web browser, and you can still visit the page if you know Google's IP address. But imagine you have to remember IP addresses instead of, say, google.com or facebook.com. Very difficult to do that, right? We can easily remember domain names like google.com, facebook.com, linkedin.com, and so on. But computers, they do not understand domain names, so they know each other by their IP addresses. It is just like, the phone number that we save in our phone book, right? You can call anyone with the phone number by dialing the phone number, or if you have saved their name number and map to a name, you can just search for that name and you can call, right? It becomes easier, right? So that's what DNS provides basically. And then we'll talk about Apache as web server. So Apache is the web server. Again, they have dominance in the web server area. Most of the web servers throughout the world runs on Apache. So we'll talk about that. We'll actually simulate the real-time situation where you will see that you will have your own domain name that you will type in your web browser, and you will get to see the page from the web server, right? So we will actually simulate that. We'll set up our own web server, and we'll see how the request gets routed to your web server from your laptop. Okay. As I said, feel free to stop me anytime if you have any questions anywhere.
Sure.
Okay, moving on to the next one. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of focus on automation because DevOps, if you see, it's all about automation. So we'll spend really good amount of time on automation. So build and release, we'll use these tools, or we'll learn these tools, Git, GitHub, and Jenkins. These are the tools which helps you do the build and release automation, right? So we'll see actually how in real-time situation these tools help the organization to move forward. So Git and GitHub more like the version control system where you stored your application code, and Jenkins is the tool which pulls up the application code from Git, GitHub, and then gives you a deployable build. So we'll see how it works in real-time situation again. Then we'll move on to shell scripting. Again, very, very important skill to have. And we'll see how using shell scripting you can actually automate something, right? Then we'll talk about Puppet, Chef, and Ansible. These are the infrastructure configuration tool, which again helps you configure your infrastructure. So in the sense, if you have really large infrastructure, I'm talking about 10,000, 20,000 servers, and if you want to say make one change. Now imagine if you have to log into every server and make the change. It's almost impossible to make the change in a couple of weeks. It may take probably a month or so. Now, the requirement may be, you change the configuration within, and it should reflect within a minute maybe, right? Now, if you use some of these tools, Puppet, Chef, or Ansible, it helps you automate that really quickly, and you can have kind of very stable and the same configuration across the host that you have. Okay. Again, these are the tools. I mean, config management, the infrastructure configuration. These are very popular, so we will be covering all three of them. Package installation, we will be doing a lot of package installations on our Linux system, like Puppet, Chef, Git, GitHub. All these are nothing but packages which we will be installing on our Linux host, and we will be doing that with the help of these tools, Yum, RPM, and also source page installation. Yum RPM because it helps you out, quickly install any package. So we'll see how actually we'll be using that, and you'll be using it on a regular basis as well when you join an organization. Moving on to the next one, which is my last slide on the topics. So monitoring and alerting, we will use these tools, this particular tool called Nagios, very popular again, open source. So we will see how using Nagios you can monitor your application, infrastructure, services. So if a particular service goes down, you will get an alert from Nagios. So we'll actually install it and set it up, and we'll see how it works. Then some of the, the must-to-have skills, troubleshooting skills and performance tuning. Troubleshooting in the sense if you have a problem, suppose there is an outage, website that suppose you work for Facebook and Facebook.com is down. As a DevOps, you need to troubleshoot and find out what is happening, why it is down, and then fix the problem. Then we'll also talk about performance tuning. How do you fine-tune your setup to get maximum performance out of it? And finally, we will talk about cron job, which is a tool which helps you, schedule any job. So, for example, if you want to send, Happy New Year to all your customers on 1st of January every year, you don't need to do it manually. You just set it up. You write a script and put it into a cron job that every 1st January you send an email to all my customers with this particular content. Right? You can do all of that, and it will do that automatically. And it can even send you a report how many were sent, how many failed, and all of that you can automate it. Okay. Moving on to the next one. As I said, this is the last slide on the topics, but just have some questions about what is the duration. So it will take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks actually, I mean including project work that we'll be doing. And then after the training session every day, you will have the training videos available. I'll be sharing on the Google Drive that you can download and play. Okay. Also, one more thing which I've not mentioned on the slide is that during the session you will notice that I pass the control to you, so you become the presenter. The way I'm presenting it today, you will be presenting it, and I guide you over the GoToMeeting. So that way you will be installing it, configuring it. So it's going to be a lot of hands-on. We will be hardly talking about, we'll of course talk about a little bit of theoretical, and I'll give you a lot of links to read about these tools, technologies. But during the session, it's going to be a lot of hands-on. So it's all lab exercise, you can say. Okay. That's about it from my side. Let me know if you have any questions.
What about the Docker, Sanjay?
Okay, so Docker I have not included, but yes, I'll just make a note. If you need help on Docker, I can include that as well.
We want the real-time project. You are telling us example,
right.
Real-time projects.
Correct.
We need the Jenkins and GitHub. You said the GitHub and Git, and one more Docker.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yep. Any other questions?
Sanjay, this is Amarnath. As I told, like very new, like I have no idea about this Devops and all. So like, as you told, the Linux too. So the thing is that the one which you covered all the content, the course topics and all. So like with this, like do you think like I can scope up in the market and all the current market how it is? So like based on this content, so how would I be in the market like? Just
yeah, so when you go to the market, when you talk to any of the DevOps engineers, right, who are, who is working already, and if you say that I know these tools, they'll say, okay, you have knowledge on almost everything. So these tools are most popular tools, which is used by DevOps engineers today. So if you go with this, and if you really gain a real knowledge on this one and practice, I think this is more than enough. In fact, I haven't come across with someone who is expert in all of these tools. These are really lot of these tools. I've seen, a lot of my students in the past, they came back saying that I got a job, just because I learned Puppet. I spent really good amount of time learning on Puppet, and I have a job today, and I'm managing Puppet infrastructure there. But here, as I said, we are talking about a lot of tools, by the way.
Okay, so like from your side, you would say that with these topics, so like I can cope up in the market.
Right. Correct.
Like in that case, so that would be very good, and finding of information from your side. So like. Yeah.
No, so as I said, I will talk about the real-time situation in all the tools and technologies that we learn, like how it works. So starting from build and release. So as a DevOps, what kind of responsibility you have? You deploy the code to production, you configure your infrastructure, you automate a lot of stuff, and then you monitor your applications. So all of these are covered here. So that is end-to-end.
Okay, so so like based on this content, so like you're gonna show the all real-time scenarios, right? Like how does it work in
Correct.
here?
That's right. That's right.
And currently I am using like the Linux Ubuntu, but the thing is that I'm not convenient using this, so I'm gonna change this to the Windows tonight, like after the session is done. Okay, so
Yeah, so what we will be doing, as I said, we will be creating our own Linux system. I'm not sure if, this is what you asked, but, for some reason your voice is not very clear. So let me guess what you asked, and let me respond to that. So you will have your own Linux system in AWS that you'll be able to connect from your laptop, okay, using a client. So we'll be installing a client on your Windows machine. Using that, you'll be able to connect to your Linux, and all these things that we are going to learn will be on your Linux system.
okay, that would be nice.
Is that what you were asking?
I'm sorry?
No, is that what you were asking? You somehow, as I said, your voice was not very clear, so I didn't follow everything.
I'm clear with your voice. Like I can clear very good the way you're speaking, and I can hear properly. Actually, I'm using the Ubuntu. I have some problem, like I am not that convenient using this. Currently, I think I have some problem with my laptop. I'm not sure. So like, are you gonna change it to Windows? Like once the session is done.
No, so as I said, we will be using all Linux, Red Hat Linux in AWS. And why AWS? Because that way I felt that you will have a little bit of exposure to AWS as well. So that is what we will be doing.
So, but currently my operating system is Windows. Is that okay, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Even if you're on Windows or Ubuntu, that's fine. Using your whatever existing OS that you have on your laptop, you will be able to connect to the Linux host that we provision in AWS. So that's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Even if you're on Mac, that's fine.
Okay, fine. And these are the topics which you shared. So this is all the course content, right?
Correct. Yeah, I shared 3 slides, so these are the course content.
Okay. So these would be covered in 4 to 5 weeks, like all the
Right. 4 to 6 weeks, I would say. At the end of the trainings, I will also be giving you some project work, and that takes 1 or 2 weeks. So that way you'll be able to kind of practice what you learned throughout the training. So,
yeah, that would be very
right.
grateful to us too.
Yeah, in fact, if you need help writing your resume and all, so I do that as well. Just out of my interest, because I see a lot of people, they write their resume, and since I interview a lot of people, I can probably share what are the best practices, what are the things probably you should mention and all of that. And even like it can guide you on how you should handle maybe attending interviews and all that, how you should approach the questions and all. So I can set up a couple of sessions on that as well. Although not part of the training, but I'll do that as well.
Yeah, that's great for us too. Like that would be very helpful as well, like for ongoing market too. So
Right.
and I have one more thing to ask you, Sanjay. So like just in case like, somewhere at the point like maybe the link doesn't work and all. So like how can I contact you in different ways?
No, so I'll share my number. In fact, I'll create a WhatsApp group. That way we can coordinate in case you are running late or I'm running late. We can exchange messages. For some reason we cannot meet, right? Maybe because of some festival season or whatever. I'll create a WhatsApp group, which we will be all part of that.
That's great. And one more thing which I need from you is like, once the session is done, so like you're gonna share the video, the entire video.
No, so just after the session, I upload the video to Google Drive, so that you'll be
Google
able to
Drive,
see.
and you're gonna send it to our email IDs, right?
No, I mean, since these are large files, sending an
Okay.
email will not be kind of a voice thing.
Like
If I upload it to Google Drive, you will be able to see it from there.
okay, that's great. I mean, like, so I can able to see the today's session as well, right? Like the one which you
Today, in fact, I'm not recording it, but Sai has recorded it. I can see that. So Sai will be able to share. I mean, typically I do not record the intro, but I see Sai has recorded it. So Sai, can you share that link or the video for today? And so Sai will do that. And you know, I just shared my email ID. If you can send me your phone number, that way I can create the WhatsApp group, and you know, then we can coordinate it better.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I mean, I don't see your email ID.
No, I just pinged in the chat.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I received it. So I will
Sounds good.
send the numbers.
Yeah, just send me a test email with your phone number so that I can create the WhatsApp group. I'm assuming both of you are on WhatsApp.
Sure, sure. Definitely. You know, I'll ping from my side.
Okay.
And they're like, are you from like India?
I'm in Bangalore. Yes, I'm based out of Bangalore.
Okay, so like you're working DevOps like since 10 years.
Since 96, so more than 20 years now.
So I think you have a lot of hands-on experience towards it.
Yes.
Which could be really
In fact, during my days when I started my career, none of these tools existed. So it was all manual, but I automated a lot of stuff. But it was a lot of work because none of these tools were there. So that means everything you had to try it on your own. So I've seen that world and I see this world now where now you have suddenly a lot of tools available which can do the job for you, right? So that way it has become a lot easier compared to how it used to be earlier. Of course, those days we didn't have you know, the large footprint like the many number of servers and all that. But still the life was difficult because we did not have some of these tools at that time.
And Sanjay, like, what are your different experiences that you had in this, like overall this experience towards your?
Yeah, I'll be talking a lot about, you know, my experiences, how it used to be, how, you know, what kind of work that, you know, I do today. All those things we'll be talking about. So it will be a lot of interactive sessions. So
Sure, sure. Thank you. That will be very
okay.
great.
So I shared my, as I said, I shared my email ID. If you can send your phone number, just send me a test email with phone number. I'll create a WhatsApp group, and then we'll also decide on the timing.
Sure,
okay?
Sure. So we'll have the same session tomorrow. I mean,
tomorrow we will not have it. I have some appointments for tomorrow. But as I said, share your phone number, and I'll, you know, we can exchange messages on that, and we can decide on the timing. Okay?
Okay. And thank you very much, Mr. Sanjay. So nice to talk.
No worries.
And,
nice talking to you guys.
Once the session is done, I request Sai to send the video, the one which he.
Right. I mean, he will send the video. Amar, I think you have shared your email ID, but if you can send Chandu's email ID also to Sai, he'll be able to share.
Chandu is typing in the system as well. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sounds good. I'm going to drop off now. We'll talk soon.
Sure, sure.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you very much, Sanjay, and thank you, Sai.